Tim Burt's restaurant marketing series, Move Your Food. Video number 1, Marketing Psychology.
Well, welcome to the Move Your Food Action Guide. This is video 1, The Psychology of Advertising. I'm Tim Burt, and here are 4 irrefutable, undeniable laws of advertising. Number 1, all effective commercials are rooted in psychology. Number 2, your audience will only remember the images that you can paint in their mind. Rule number 3, choice paralyzes response, also known as paralysis by analysis. And number 4, the confused mind never buys. Now let's talk about rule number 1, which states that all effective commercials are rooted in psychology. So what's the goal of your marketing? Well, contrary to what you might think, the primary goal of your marketing is not the sale. The goal of your marketing is to convince people to buy crap that they don't really need. Now, the key word here is convince. So we must psychologically manipulate the buying habits of the audience to convince them that your business is worth investigating. It should all be designed with one primary objective, and that is to get people in the door. Now, is the ultimate goal the sale? Well, of course it is. But what your marketing must do is convince people to give you a shot. Once your marketing gets people into the door, the commercial has done its job. It is then incumbent upon you to deliver on the promise that your marketing has made. This is the most important thing to understand. Once you have a grasp of this, your outlook on your marketing will change dramatically. I guarantee it. It's also the basis for everything that I'm going to show you. So, how do you psychologically manipulate the audience into investigating your restaurant? Well, here's an analogy that I created to illustrate what most marketing is today. If you were lost in a forest, would you dress up as a tree? Well, of course not. You would set yourself on fire in order to be found. So you have to do the same thing with your marketing. So how do you do this? Well, first we need to do a little bit of mining. Now, I'm going to assume that if you're watching this video, you are the owner of a restaurant. So I want you to think back to when you first opened your restaurant. I want you to recall the primary reason that you started your business. Now, if it was passed down to you, then you have to know the reason that your parents or whomever started it decided to do so. Was it because your grandparents or your parents made the best pizza in town, for example? Or if you started the restaurant, was it because you said to yourself something like, "Man, that place down the street sucks," or "Those guys are awful, I could do it better blindfolded"? Well, whatever the reason is, that's going to be the core of our marketing message. If you have direct competition across the street, here's the easiest way to get to that core nugget. So let's say that your place is called Dave's and your competition is called Jack's, and you both sell pizza. So if I walked into your restaurant and I said, "You know, Jack's across the street, they have a better price on 2 pizzas, so why should I order from you?" Well, let's just assume for a second that you've had a good day, you're not in a bad mood, and you genuinely want my business. Without hesitation, you should be giving me what's called your USP. That stands for your unique selling proposition. Very important. You should instantly start telling me what makes your restaurant better than the other guys. You know, you have better ingredients, you make it faster than the other guys, the dough and the sauce are made in-house, etc., whatever it is. You need to psychologically convince the consumer that you are the better choice of the two. And since all advertising is one-to-one communication, well, what you would be telling me is the core nugget of your marketing. You must stop thinking like a business owner and start thinking like your consumers do. Because let's face it, you do it yourself. You do it to your vendors. You do it in your personal life. You know, think about the last time you purchased tires, for instance. Did you buy from the first place you went? Well, of course not. You shopped around, like we all do, for price. But I'll bet where you ultimately ended up making your purchase, they told you all the bonuses you're going to get, plus they told you why they're better than their competition. So they were selling you on their USP, on their unique selling proposition. Now, after you finish watching this video, I want you to write down your USP on the next page. And keep it handy because you're going to be relying on it a lot. So to recap, all effective commercials are rooted in psychology, and we are psychologically manipulating the buying habits of the consumers to get them to investigate your restaurant at a minimum. Now, in the next video, I'll uncover irrefutable, undeniable law number 2, that the audience will only remember the images that you can paint in their mind. So go ahead and write down your unique selling proposition, your USP. And when you're done, you can go ahead and move on to video number 2.